in the hit series Power Book 2 Ghost, which is in the home stretch of its fourth and final season.
Yes.
Fourth and final season. You said it's all right.
Yes.
What do you see next?
More roles.
More roles.
I mean, these guys, what would you guys like to see me do?
All right. Well, they want to see you in anything. Do you have people have vision boards. Do you have this idea of what's next?
I would love to do theater.
Broadway?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't reach that high yet, but if that's possible, absolutely.
That's interesting. I said Broadway, you said I wouldn't reach that high yet.
Right.
Why not?
Well, I want to start from the bottom like everyone else does, kind of cut
So
my
you want to
teeth
do like off-Broadway, traveling?
Yes, I want to be able to feel what that atmosphere is like first before it even gets to Broadway.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Interesting. I want to ask you about the moment, because you popped up in my social media feed. You and Redman, who I love, you were performing at the Hot 97 Festival, and you said on Instagram, "Thanks again, New York, the whole tri-state. I got love for you guys, but never again. At this point, the generation gap is just too wide for me. # never coming back." You later clarified what you meant by that it was a self-awareness moment.
Absolutely. Just so we're clear, they do Summer Jam every year, and out of all the years they've done it, I've been asked to come the majority of the years. So I knew what I was in store for before I even got there. It was a tribute to Mr. C, who had passed away. Rest in peace, Mr. C. So I had to be there. Showed up, didn't expect anything from the crowd, but it was a bit disheartening to be on stage and in your hometown and not exactly to expect the love, but expect some kind of recognition. You know what I mean? But in that moment, it was more or less like I felt like the uncle that was hanging out with his nephews in the club. And it was like, you know what?
You're like, wait a minute.
This ain't for me no more.
Wait.
This just ain't it.
Well, because, we talk a lot about aging in Hollywood from a woman's point of view, from a woman's lens. I have people come up to me all the time and like, I grew up watching you. I'm like, what are you, 10? You know what I mean? You grew up watching me. I just turned 54 on Monday. Now, listen, I say that because I know every time I get a pity applause, so I understand what age is about. But for you, how does it feel to be?
Well, I think ignorance is bliss, especially with the hip-hop audience. I've been featured on a few records in the past few years, and if I could say so myself, I've been killing them. But this is the thing. The audience tends to say things like, wow, he's past 50 plus and he can still rap like that. I'm like, but to me, it's more or less like the brain still works.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I be able to achieve or at least be great or master the craft that I've been doing for more than 30 years?
Well, I think it's I think it's generational, different styles, we
just have a thing, hip hop getting old. They just have a thing.
They just have a hip hop getting old.
And we should have our own genres the same way rock and roll does, alternative rock, and things of that nature. Because there's so many different genres of hip hop.
Well, I was thinking, because one of the things that I saw you explain was the iconic song M-E-T-H-O-D, Man, and where it came from. You talk about age, you were 16 years old
when I wrote that.
When you wrote that song. I didn't know this until I saw an interview with you online, and I said, I got to show this to the audience. The origin of the song came from his. This is crazy. Hey, You Get Off My Cloud comes from?
The Beatles.
Bootsy Collins song, Disciples of Funk.
That's right.
M-E-T-H-O-D.
Man
comes from
Hall & Oates.
Method of Modern Love.
Yes. M-E-T-H-O-D-O.
I don't have money to be playing for these songs.
I'm sorry. Yes.
That came from Hall & Oates. Man comes from?
Master Ace, Music Man.
Yes. Then I got Fat Bags of came from the Beatles.
My pocket. No, the Beatles. It came from the Beatles.
Come together.
Yes.
So the range from Bootsy Collins, the Beatles, and on, that's where that came from that 16-year-old.
Well, actually, the Rolling Stones is Hey, You Get Off My Cloud, but
the Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones, yeah.
So, and the point of that is that you were at 16 pulling from all these different genres.
I was lucky enough to grow up in a household where it was music all day.
Right.
And anyone that grew up in the 80s knows that when it came to our music and videos, most of the video channels, you would have to sit through about 50 rock and roll videos just to see one Michael Jackson video. So this is why, you know, rock and roll resonates with me, Hall & Oates resonates with me. I mean, even White Snake resonates with me.
Right, listen, of course.
Kaja Gugu.
Are you kidding me?
Resonates with me.
We used to watch, look at us, we used to watch MTV. And that's what we have to watch.
Yeah.
So now when we talk about the generation gap with rap, your daughter, Cheyenne, goes by Shy.
Yes, she does.
Now on the scene, had a sold out crowd in Detroit, opening with Trina, who's coming up on our show, by the way, soon, the baddest. What is it like to see her on stage?
Well, I found out like everyone else did.
She didn't tell you?
No. And her mom's her manager. They didn't tell me anything.
Her mom's her manager and didn't tell you. They didn't tell you.
No. And
do you know them?
I know, right? I can respect it though because she wanted to get it on her own merits, and she's doing it. And when I saw her, you know, you're skeptic at first of the people that are around and things, but she's around some great people. Yeah. She's very serious about it, and she writes her own stuff.
She writes her own, which is a big deal because in the industry, there are people who are accused of having ghostwriters, and there's this whole thing about people being inauthentic hip-hop stars because someone else has written it, and you get on and you're a performer, not an MC.
But
she's an MC.
With that. Yes, but I totally disagree with that. If you have writers, some of your favorite hits weren't written
by them,
by the person that you think wrote it.
But why do you think it's important for her to have that skill?
Skepticism. Being a female MC, it's the same as being the only black person in an all-white corporation. You know, you're held to a higher standard. And you want to make it easier for the next person to come through that door. So, yeah.
I love it.